As you're searching for those answers, I have a few things I want to mention that are some things we need to know about ourselves, mindsets, attitudes, things that just kind of come along as we wrestle through these things. First off, not everyone is a walking encyclopedia. Do people still have encyclopedias? Not everyone is Google with legs, okay? You watch some of the big name apologists. I mean, you get people like William Lane Craig or Ravi Zacharias. You know, it's like during a Q&A, off the cuff, someone asks a question. He's like, that reminds me of this book I read by so-and-so on page 58. And he quotes, like, from memory, quotes like 3 paragraphs on the fly. Okay, I don't have that gift. I mean, at one point, I was actually kind of going, God, am I really supposed to be a preacher? Because shouldn't, you know, a pastor be able to have that kind of recall? And I don't have that gift. I don't have that gift. It's not in me. So you can actually take a breath. Whenever you come across something and you're just like, I don't know, and it's okay. Breathe, relax. Most people don't know. Most people go, I don't know, let me go find out. You can stop, relax, and go find out. Second, you have to be an amateur expert on everything. I know it's a little bit of an oxymoron. But you have so many things in your life that you're going through that you have to know as much as you can because you're the expert in your little sphere of the world on this topic and on this topic, on home maintenance if you own a home, on finances if you're dealing with money, which we all do, and on, if you have kids, you have to be like an expert child therapist because you're having to shape those little minds, right? And there's just all these things that you're needing to do in your life constantly, day in, day out, 24/7. I'm assuming you're not sleeping because if you're that busy, you're probably not sleeping. You need to be a sleep expert and a nutrition expert and everything else that goes with all that. And on top of all that, you also need to be a theology and religion expert. Okay, you can give yourself permission to go, I haven't got around to studying about that. Now, you should, you need to make it a priority. Don't don't hear the preacher saying, don't worry about it. Yeah, Bible is absolutely priority. You need to study, you need to learn. Okay, but in the meantime, relax. Give yourself permission to not have an answer to something you had never thought about before. Because you got a lot of other stuff going on too. I remember a story I read, can't remember the name. It was the daughter of a famous Christian teacher, apologist, who had grown up, under, a father who was an apologist and theologian. And so she was taught all of this from a very young age. Yes, Rachel Slick. I read this article that what happened, what just got it all going, is she would like to challenge her friends with questions. And she challenged a friend one day and says, why is it that there are things in the Old Testament that are immoral, but then in the New Testament, it's okay to do them? And her friend said, I don't know, I don't have an answer. And she was like, wait, I don't have an answer either. And that got her heading down the road towards, eventually now, I believe she'd say she's an atheist. Well, there's an answer to that. Okay, she didn't know it. Her friend didn't know it. But there are answers. That is not something that should make you run away from the faith. But instead, you need to relax, say, okay, I don't know everything about everything. Let me go find an answer. Also, new information throws you off. You're trucking through life. You have your theological framework and belief system. New information comes along, and it's like a squirrel running down the road. Right? And for some reason, our 2-ton car versus a squirrel, but we still swerve and try to get away from it anyway. And you run off the road in the ditch. Well, sometimes that's what happens to people belief-wise. New information comes along, and instead of just kind of dealing with it, they panic and run off into the ditch of disbelief. It's okay. Stop, relax, breathe. Go, okay, what is this new information? Let me kind of check this out and learn about it and think it through. Maybe I have to shift my beliefs a little bit. Okay, fine, but then keep on going. Forgotten details can create anxiety. Right? You come up with something, you're like, yeah, I know that. Well, why? Don't remember why. Many of us, we probably wrote papers, however long ago in school. You want to ask me the details of a research paper that I wrote 10 years ago? I can tell you my conclusion. I might be able to summarize some key points for you. That's about all. I'm not going to remember the details. And so whenever there's things where it's like you've grown up, you've been learning, you've been studying, not just going with whatever's been taught to you, but you've actually been studying. Last month, I was at a debate. It was Braxton Hunter and Matt Dillahunty. And I'm talking to a guy before the debate, and we're talking about something about the Bible, and we said, oh yeah, someone said something about that being good, and I was like, ooh, it's a good book. The good book. We should copyright that. You're making a joke. At that moment, Matt Dillahunty, atheist, comes walking by, and he goes, good book? How is that a good book? It says that you can own people like property, and it's okay to beat your slaves. I was like, okay, Matt, no, that's not what the Bible teaches. He goes, oh yeah, and he rattles off like 3 or 4 verses to me. But here's the deal. I've taught on that. Like 4 years ago, I did an in-depth, devoted an entire sermon to going over those verses he quoted to me. I know his interpretation of them is wrong. I know what the proper interpretation of it is. Could I, at that moment, in that conversation, all of a sudden drudge up all of these details and specifics of exactly why in this word in the Hebrew means that? And I couldn't, all of that was gone. Because I've been on other things for 4 years. I have other things I've been, so relax. Give yourself permission to not have to be the perfect expert on something all the time. Sometimes you forget things. It's okay. Just go back and try to remember them. Our feelings, this is a big one. Feelings can override our thinking. Your feelings can override your rationality. 2 big examples here, I think. 2 of the top skeptical arguments or complaints that I come across is the problem of evil and the problem of divine hiddenness. Now, both of these intellectually, rationally, easily answered. But, problem of evil. How God exists, loving, good, powerful God, and evil exists at the same time, answered. Philosophers answered that a long time ago. But emotionally, why did God let that happen? Right? Those emotions kick in, and it doesn't matter what rational answer somebody gives. You don't want to hear it because those emotions are there. And no, that hurt, and how dare God let that happen, right? And so your emotions override your thinking. Or divine hiddenness, right? Theologians, philosophers had answers for that for centuries. Yeah, but I prayed, and God, where were you? Why does it seem like you're gone? Okay, well, there's rational reasons for that can be explained, but when you're in the moment feeling alone, God, where are you? Your emotions can override. And we all know this is true, right? If you've ever been a teenager in love, you know that your feelings can override your rationality. Happens all the time. But we have to be able to stop, breathe, step back, try to re-engage our thinking, not let our emotions rule the day.